Hey everybody, welcome back. It is the Fantasy Rugby Yanks. My name is Jared Dyke.
I'm Ben Gloucester.
And today with us we have a very, very special guest. Long time coming. The man, the myth, the legend. You guys know him as the Fantasy Rugby Geek. Welcome, George Haas.
Thank you, guys. It's an absolute pleasure to be joining you today. It's been a long time coming, and delighted to be a part of it.
Well, you've been great at supporting us all the way through. So, we appreciate all the work you've done to bump us up and give us a wider audience. So it only makes sense to have you on.
Yeah,
absolutely. And look, we're all here to sort of spread the good word of fantasy rugby. So, anybody else who's fighting the good fight alongside me, they're good friends of mine. So, let's continue spreading the word.
Yeah. Be nice to each other, right?
Exactly. Be kind.
Yeah, absolutely. I was telling George earlier, Ben, did you have a little light flickering earlier by thunderstorm or anything like that?
No, not too much. We're pretty strong over here. Generally don't lose power, but yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, I did. Those things sounded like they were right on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've never been in a thunder and lightning storm, we just had a doozy, so it's not fun. Let's drink some beer.
Yes.
Let's open.
Don't have to ask me twice.
Never ever. I know that. Obviously, make sure that you find us on your favorite podcast app. Review us, rate us, whatever. You can give us a 1-star. We don't care. We're not begging for 5 stars by any means, but we just want to know what you guys think, as always.
What are you guys drinking?
I have a fairly light one, pale ale from our local brewery, Night Shift. Nice. Ben, you still sporting Jack's Abbey? Yes, you are.
Still, yep.
Atta baby. Anything local over there, George?
Yeah, actually, I'm drinking Bison Beer, Seaside American Pale Ale. It was a couple of old guys who I used to work with in sports tech. They basically quit their jobs 3 years ago to set up a beer shop down in Brighton.
Okay.
They're doing amazingly well. Like they've set up a bar, set up a pub since, and they've got about 4 or 5 beers now. It's really good stuff as well. So
awesome. Shout
out to Bison Beer.
Nice. Yeah, I love it. Awesome. Yeah, local stuff. We support the local stuff around here as best we can. Although Ben ran out of his free Jack's Ale.
I did. It was rather expensive to get from the first place. So
well, in the method you got it, yes.
True. Yeah.
I mean, if you buy just a 6-pack of it, it won't be that expensive. You don't.
Ray, the problem is you can't right now. So
are there none over there?
No.
At that at the one by you? No.
No, I don't know how much. I don't even know if they're still brewing it. To be perfectly honest, at this point. Yeah, I think it was a limited edition.
Maybe it was supposed to be a season thing, which I think the season would be just about over. Probably this week, I think, was supposed to be the final. Ugh.
Sadness.
Yeah, sad. Super sad. So obviously we have George that we always thank, and we also want to thank TRM, the Rugby magazine. They are awesome dudes. Ed and company here do a really good job with their fantasy game, and Ben and I have been fans of theirs basically since the word go, and we started doing this a couple years ago. So, definitely shout out to them and for the way that they treat us for sure. Make sure you check them out when shit kicks back up. And we'll always emphasize the Black Lives Matter movement on this show. There probably won't be a time where we don't at this point.
At this point,
basically until things change, which may not be in our lifetimes, but with a little bit of luck, hopefully it does. We're definitely in support of equality for everybody.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Now that that's over, let's get to the player movement. The saddest news of all, Brad Barrett's leaving the Saracens at the end of this season. It was coming.
Yeah. You knew, I mean, everything ends, but not like we were looking forward to this one.
No, definitely not.
I mean, it's good that he's seeing it out to the end of the season. At least, you will get to see him play again.
Sure. There are others who weren't so lucky.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've
Francois Lowe,
yeah,
was it, who basically had to walk away, and
he's done. He didn't go to I think he was just like, I've hit the point. I'm done.
Yeah.
He's walking away, which really sucks. And it looks like Jamie Gibson might be kind of on the edge of calling his a day.
Yeah.
That's really unfortunate. I really like Jamie Gibson since I really got deep into the Premiership. That is a big boy.
Big boy, big tackler. Like you always used to rack up the tackle stats.
Yeah, so it looks like he's at least moving on from Northampton. Might just be done. TBD.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like that because it doesn't seem like Northampton were the catalyst for that. It seems like that he just said, "Hey, I'm leaving."
Well, it's interesting that neither of these announcements you haven't actually seen that they are retiring. So maybe a trip out to Japan or even to MLR could be an option.
Oh, maybe we can get Barrett over here and
get Barrett to New England. Let's go. Yeah. Start that campaign right now. No, I'm sure he is ready to settle in with the family and not have to be running all over the universe for a long time now. But hopefully we can send him out on top with the Champions Cup, which those fixtures at least the weekend's been announced, and it's the weekend of my birthday. So let's go Saracens. Nice. Let's go Saracens. Nick Tompkins is going on loan over to Dragons. Hopefully he can help them because they've struggled mightily in the last couple seasons, despite some really good talent on that team.
Yeah, to me, the surprise there is that it's not permanent.
I agree.
Because you'd think he'd need to maintain his contract there now to stay with Wales internationally.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what Wayne Pivac's rules are. That might be what it is. Possibly.
I mean, I was under the impression that the Welsh regions would be looking to hold on to the internationals, but who knows? Under Pivac, it might be a different world altogether. But Ben, I was with you. I was expecting it to be a permanent deal. When I saw the headline, I thought, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. Well, maybe he will. Maybe he'll make it permanent after a loan. Maybe they'll decide to buy him anyway. That's definitely an option on the table, I think. And then. I think this happened last week and we skipped over it, and shame on Ben and I. Will Hooley, the Saracens, man, I just became an even bigger Saracens fan.
Right. Yeah. No, that was like almost immediate. I think it was like the morning after we taped.
Okay, so that might be true.
It was not announced until after our show last week.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's another American connection to Saracens.
Yeah,
makes it real easy as Americans to root for them, seeing as they seem to collect them.
Yeah,
they always have a token.
It's going to be fascinating to see the makeup of their squad next season.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop on something for Owen Farrell.
Yeah,
everything I'm seeing is saying that a lot of these guys are just sticking with the club, whether that's teams don't want to sign him for just a year or take him as a loan, or I don't know what it is, or just general loyalty. The hell is that in sports?
What is that? Who knew?
Yeah. I guess like Farrell wouldn't want to leave England just for at risk of his international, although they would make a difference for that. And then if Farrell is moving on loan somewhere, I assume his salary would go into the salary cap of another team. So I guess the big earners at Sarries probably don't want to go anywhere, and the other clubs probably don't want him because they probably can't afford them in the budget.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's a possibility for sure. And I'm not going to skip over the last one I have here, but Courtney Laws looks like he's leaving Northampton. Rumor, not confirmed, just a rumor. We'll see it. We'll see. It sounds like he might be calling over to France. Maybe he's calling it good.
Béziers.
That baffles me.
Who all of a sudden have loads and loads of cash, apparently.
Yeah, who knew? I don't know about that one, man. That's a move that I will say this. That's a move you may make to end your career. So maybe that's exactly why.
Yeah, maybe. But then we're also seeing I saw rumors about Aotearoa leaving Quins for a similar destination over in France. I'm not sure exactly where.
But that broke at the end of last week, and they were talking about this could happen today. And personally, I'm actually a Quins fan myself, so
condolences.
Sorry to say, lads, I am a Quins fan.
We will hold it against you.
But we'll always have that Exeter match.
Always.
That penalty tried to end it. There aren't too many times where I'm going to cheer like that for the Quins. So
yeah, that's true. I was definitely shouting up and down for them. I was not sad that the Exeter lost that game by any means whatsoever. Oh man, yeah, we'll see. Toya, that's weird.
That is weird because he's young. He's a talent, and they've got Chris Ashton, who's probably going to cost Quins a bit. He's old.
Yeah.
Why would you want to keep hold of him when you got a talent like Aotearoa coming through?
Yeah, I think to me, I'm not a huge Aotearoa fan. only because I don't see his game as very well rounded.
No, it's not.
Excellent in attack, but you ask him to take contact either in attack or defense, and that's not his thing. He'd rather do something stupid than take that contact. And that, to me, I'd like to see that developed. I don't think France is the place to do that, though. So it's an odd move on his part from my standpoint.
They showed that run he made it against Claremont over and over again. I saw on social, which was an amazing run. But as a Quins game, I have very bad memories of that game, particularly Peter Beethan ripping him to shreds throughout the game. So, he's going to need to toughen up if he's going to last in France, I think.
Yeah, 100%. That's not good, man.
And then there's the questions around Leicester right now. That I saw something like a third of their top side or something like that might cancel their contract.
Yeah.
Including their internationals.
Yeah.
Big names.
Big names. They could be clearing out that brutal front row of theirs.
Yeah, that is not my favorite front row by any means. I like Cole, and that's about it. Yeah. Everything after that, forget it. I could leave it for sure. There are a lot of front rows I'd trade for that one, including some backup front rows.
Yeah.
Speaking of Leicester, did you see another player they signed last week? One for the commentators, Harry Potter.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Of course.
From Australia. Yeah. Because we talked about we pointed him out on our Super Rugby draft, and I was just like, is this real or is this somebody else from this? No, it's real.
Of course he has to come to England, and now we get all
Sorry,
that.
Dude.
So.
You got the short end of the stick on that one. Blame your parents.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, you gotta, you do the math. How old is he? He's,
exactly.
They had to have known. Like, that had to be intentional.
That was definitely intentional. Like, that had to be intentional. If you didn't know at that point, you're not paying attention by any whatsoever.
It's just insane to me to think that series started. I think I was either graduating high school or starting college. It was somewhere around that time frame, and it's like, wait, somebody was actually named after that character, essentially, who is. And now they're professional athlete now. Like, oh, all right, fuck my life. When did I get old?
When you turned 40, man.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Don't joke about that. I've got that in a couple of months' time.
It's not as bad as it sounds. It's worse.
Well, I mean, listen, I pour it on because I'm the oldest of my group that I grew up with, and that's by a year compared to the last one. There's 5 of us. First to last there's barely a year. So so when I find somebody else older, I just fucking chuck it all on them. Yeah, that's just
now
how it goes,
see why we became friends. I get
it. Yeah, you're the older guy now. I'm not the old guy anymore. Shit. Oh man. Okay. So speaking of shit, what a shitty situation this turned into. George Skivington and Gloucester and London Irish and this saga that has been going on. What in the actual happened here? Anybody it seems like there's a lot of communication errors, number one.
Yeah. It just looks bad for the Premiership overall. And it's another unforced error for the league. How do you not have these things defined? It should be a very clear-cut, straightforward process is to hire a coach. And it doesn't seem like those structures are in place.
No, it's a long line in a comedy of errors coming out the Premiership at the moment, and it's it's interesting that it's Gloucester who are in trouble here. Yeah, Rohan Janci van Rensburg, they were on the other side of the coin, so it's just a mess. It's an absolute shambles throughout.
Yeah, I mean, I know over here they literally have something called the tampering period for sports. And so I think if anything, and I don't want Premiership to copy American sports that much. Trust me, there's a reason I watch that and enjoy watching that more than I do some of the American sports. But that is a page they can probably take out and be like, all right, here's your point where you can start talking to people that are on our squad, on our team, on our staff. Right. Done.
And sport like the NFL, a league like the NFL has clear-cut rules as to who you can and cannot hire. So it's like if I wanted to go for like a coordinator level coach to be my head coach, you can just do it, or even a lower level coach. You can't sign somebody's head coach directly, but unless their contract's up. But how is that not similar? Like, how is there not a similar protocol to say, yeah, your DOR and your head coach, and if you want to protect certain levels on the coaching staff, you can, but below that, it should be, let's get these guys promoted. Like people should get that opportunity. You shouldn't take that away. It's just shocking to me that there's no, that this became a dispute at all. Like this shouldn't never have gotten this far without there being some clear cut ruling on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one of the things where we have to remember that professional rugby is still, a baby. Not so much, but it's still young. They still have some really dumb things that they don't think about until shit like this comes up, and then they think about it. Unfortunately, it takes these types of stupid mistakes for them to be like, we need to fix this. Hold on.
And there's probably been some cases in, the not too distant past where they've got away with situations like this. And it's only now when they're under more scrutiny and they've got sort of venture capital money coming in, all of a sudden they realize you can't get away with this anymore.
And social media helps with that too, because, like, hey, we announced a new coach, and the other team can be like,
you did? Wait, what?
Like, I don't know about that. And it's all very public rather than, maybe
a small press release.
There was Facebook 15 years ago, but it wasn't quite the same exactly.
Not.
So
definitely
like,
not.
If they had announced, if this had happened again 15, 20 years ago, it would have been maybe an article in the paper after a couple of weeks of investigation. And now instead we get to see it play out live in real time with the team sniping at each other.
Oh, good Lord. That could not, like, that was just petty high school crap right there.
It was so funny. Classic, passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Super.
Very British.
Very British.
I believe you have aired. Oh, I believe you have aired. Oh no. Look at these. It's like a freaking bar brawl over here.
That's not what it takes to bet into be in a bar brawl. I've seen them. That's not it. It's definitely a little bit more oomph to it than that, but damn. Yes. All right. We've gotten to the bottom of it now. It's a bar brawl. Yeah, just send Franco Mustard and Adam Coleman in there, or Tuisui. There you go. Send the two of them into a bar and just whichever one comes out.
Have them hash it out.
They win.
Done. Settle it with a boat race.
Oh yes.
Done.
There we go. Perfect.
That's the way to end an argument. Definitely.
Yeah, that'll do it right there. And all right. Shit. All right. Speaking of coaches, let's talk a little bit about Dave Rennie's dilemma. We talked a little bit about last week, but we can get into it a little bit this week. A little bit more with Rugby Oz coming up. The Ghetto rule. He wants to scrap. He's in between a rock and a hard place. He wants to scrap the Ghetto rule, but he knows it's going to kill Australia's Super Rugby. So he's really caught between. And it's like, what is the right solution here at this point for these guys?
Okay, I guess I'm confused about the what exactly it means to kill Australia's Super Rugby.
Well, more than it has been, which is
right.
not a good thing.
What are we talking about here? You have to balance between having a competitive league and having a competitive international side, and do they want to at least have one?
Yeah. And what's more important to them?
Right. I mean, personally, I would go. I mean, you're still gonna, like, the rugby will still be good. It might not be great. I'm not a big believer in, individual players make a team, especially as it relates to a club. If you have one, just, even if you have just three, internationals on your club, say you're the Waratahs, and you lose one of them, that shouldn't kill your club. You should be able to backfill. Yes, it won't be as good, but you can still field a competitive side and maybe get that other person, that new player, more experience. And who knows, maybe that, 5 years down the line, there's your international.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. I don't think that it's going to hurt them so much. But I mean, how much better would they have done in the World Cup if they had Will Skelton on the team? And that's just to name one. Like
that's one of a few. I'm sure they wish they had access to on that one.
And that their star player at the World Cup, Samu Karevi, who was just an absolute
monster.
He's gone off to follow the money in Japan, and
and I'm sure he's not coming back.
Exactly, and he would be a great person to have in their team. But there is a lot of young talent coming through. I've been quite impressed with the Australian Super Rugby teams to a certain extent. A lot of the the guys at the Reds, the Rebels, Brumbies obviously have been.
Yeah, Brumbies have been there for a while. Yeah,
but it seems to be the younger players that are actually coming through now. So this could be a good conveyor belt for talent. And to be honest, the club game in Australia is a disaster at the moment. Anyways, if you look at the numbers of people in the crowds.
Mm-hmm.
It's the bar is quite low at the moment. So, if there's a few other players to go, I'm not sure it would hurt it that badly.
Yeah, they have quite the conundrum that they're fighting with, and I think I heard Horwell talk about it about a year ago on a podcast. They have Aussie rules, they have NRL, and then they have Union, and they're competing for a limited talent pool, and they're trying to compare themselves to the All Blacks and the now defending World Cup champions Springboks, and it's really tough. It's not like here in America where we have NFL football and we're trying to compete with anybody of that level. We're just trying to exist at this point, So for them, it's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, league is absolutely huge over there. I've got a few Aussie mates in London, and it always surprises me just how big league is and how actually Union they love. Aussies generally love sport regardless of what it is, but you can see their love for rugby league is absolutely real, whilst Union they're kind of watch it if it's on. But
I worked with closely with an Australian company a couple of years ago, and when I first started with on the project we were working on, and I talked about rugby. They would bring up league, and it was in Melbourne. This was back before the Rebels, so they were like, rugby's not really, Union's not big here. You have to go up north for that. Of course, by the time my time on the project was over, they were the Rebels that were a thing, and they were starting to get into it. But it's you got to have it in the big metropolitan areas, which is why I think it's great that the Rebels exist now. And they're building that up, but it's going to take time and effort to really penetrate that market, because Melbourne's a huge league and AFL city, huge AFL city. So it's hard to break through that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Dave Rennie's got a hell of a task. I don't envy him whatsoever. I do believe he might be a little bit better of a coach than Cheika. Not to say that Cheika was terrible, but I think Cheika was past his sell-by date by the time the end of this last World Cup came. So I'm not knocking on him. He's a very good coach. I think he's made that very obvious. He did get to a final before, but I think he's just past the sell-by date. So Rennie is gonna bring some new enthusiasm, some new energy, but that only goes so far. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, hell yeah. Hey, we get to talk about fantasy rugby a little bit. Draft Rugby's trying to do something with this 7-week gap where we have some overlap here. It's let's be real. Their site's not top notch. Their site's not super top notch, but hey, it's something.
Yeah, it's some fantasy sports to pass the time. So that's going to be a combination of Australia and Aotearoa, or is it just one of the two? Because
a combination, I think.
That's going to be because it's the law changes for Super Rugby Australia alone are going to change how they play. So I'm interested to see how that affects scoring and would you rather have an Australia player because they gain a little bit more points if the defense opens up with the 50-22 and 22-50 rules. So maybe there may be more meters gained. Who knows?
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I was looking at the squads earlier on, and I was looking at the Western Force to see if I knew much about who they had in their side, or if they had any of the old Force legends. And I get the feeling that they're going to be smashed quite a lot. I can see some big scores going against them. So, if you do bring in your Australia players in, at least you'll probably get a few decent scores if you're up against the Force.
Yeah, I think so too. We'll see how that goes. Yeesh.
So I'm drafting with a few guys on Wednesday nights, and it seems like Draft Rugby is very much in beta. So I think, it's a good opportunity for them. They can roll it out before next year's Super Rugby. This can be a bit of a test run for them. But they don't have a sort of draft center. So you need to do all your drafts offline on a spreadsheet with your mates, build a spreadsheet out, give it to the Draft Rugby guys. They'll upload it. I think it's going to be a bit of a learning experience, but fair play to the guys. I know that they've been battling on this for about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And they're really nice guys, and they're doing this with a passion for rugby. So I'm just happy to support them.
Yeah, it's clear that they have a passion for it. That much, they love what they're doing. They're working as hard as they can on it, and it's appreciated. So let's put it that way. Like, we get frustrated with the site every so often, but it's, we Jared and I, of all people, would understand. Yeah, we're developing something. It's not it's not going to be perfect. They don't have the resources of an ESPN to just put together a fantasy site and have it just hum like that. So
never.
We encourage them, and we want to be a part of it. We're just hoping that they can continue to make it better. And some of us back, started our fantasy existence.
not dissimilar from this right here.
Right.
We were just discussing.
We did our drafts in a basement, and we compiled our points using the newspaper box scores the next day, because that's all you could do. We predated the internet. My fantasy experience. So, yes.
Well, I remember playing fantasy football in the UK when it started out, and you had to call them up and type in the code of all the players you want. So they'd make loads of money by us just basically phoning in.
Wow.
And then you get the scores in the newspaper the week after, and that was it.
Wow.
We just had one guy who was the league commissioner who had to keep track of all the every transaction had to go through him. Everything had to, so there was there was whatever the entry fee was, plus $5 or maybe 10. And it went to him for his efforts for the year.
For his inconvenience. Yeah. Yeah, totally, man. So we'll see. I mean, I appreciate that we have some fantasy rugby to talk about. I appreciate that they're cobbling something together out of nothing and putting effort into it. So yeah, like you said, they definitely have you can't do this if you don't have a passion for it. You can't try and put together a fantasy website, rugby website from nothing if you don't have a passion for it. So,
and the good news is, when you're the only game in town, there really can't be any complaints at all.
This is true. I totally agree. All right. So we did touch on the Super Rugby Oz. Let's talk a little bit about a few of the teams. I will say that Ben and I will be quietly Western Force fans, because our boy Marcel Brockie is going to be rocking himself through their squad. I'm sure he's going to be getting plenty of playing time, because he's one of the wily old veterans in a team full of very young players. So we'll see how that goes. Him and Thrush is saying that we might surprise a few teams in here. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I mean, as a Hurricanes fan, I'm definitely I'm a little partial to Jeremy Thrush. He played many games for them. Was a decent player, and even got himself a handful of All Blacks caps, but I'm not sure if he's going to quite have what it takes to bring these guys. Yeah, we'll see. That's a lot. That's asking a lot. John Lance is there. That's a bit of a boost, so they at least have a quality 10 to call on, and somebody that can also play fullback in a pinch. So that helps. But I just don't know how this team doesn't get whooped every other game.
Exactly.
It's too bad. I mean, I'm glad to see the Force back. That was one of the biggest dumb moves that Super Rugby made, was getting rid of them. Like Western rugby in Australia is dead now because they don't have these guys
Exactly. And that's what we were talking about earlier. They need to protect these rugby hotbeds. That out in Perth, rugby union is huge. So it was just a crazy decision.
Yeah, no, that was really dumb. I don't know. And really that comes down to Rugby Oz for not emphasizing to Sanzar what a problem that would be for them.
Yeah.
I think at least.
Well, Sanzar are known for making real smart decisions about which teams they allow in and out of their competition. So.
Definitely not. Yeah, like what the hell the Kings were doing in there to begin with. They were terrible for every year they were in there. Good Lord. Now they're Pro 14's problem, but that's a different story for a different day. So I would say that, I have to say the most frustrating team in Australia has to be the Reds. For sure. And I know some people will say the Rebels because they have a habit of screwing up games that they should win. But, man, the Reds are they have so much talent. Brad Thorne's a quality coach, and somehow they still find a way to screw it up, and I don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You don't know which Reds team is showing. That's the difference. Like, Rebels, you'll be like, oh, they should win this game because they're good enough. And they don't. With the Reds, it's like, oh, they'll get blown out this week, and then they win by 20. And then oh, they should have this game in hand, and they lose. And you don't know, you never get a feel for what level they're at.
They're the France of Super Rugby.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to put it. That's a very good way to put it. Yeah. Never know which
Hugely
team's going to show up.
talented, but yeah, you just don't know. You don't know which one's going to turn up.
No. Yeah, so I love James O'Connor at 10. I think that switch was an awesome idea. It seems to have worked out fairly well for them. Haggerty's a beast, as he usually is. They lost a couple of guys because of contract issues and whatnot, which is definitely going to hurt them in this competition. But even still, just the team itself, I look at it and I'm like, that is a great team that always underachieves. Always underachieves. It's really frustrating. If I was a Reds fan, I'd fucking be losing my mind.
Yeah, totally. Well,
for sure.
They got Filippo Dalgunu could be back as well, and he's an immense talent.
That'll be great. That'd be
him.
Really good for them.
Yeah, solid fantasy star player.
Yeah.
Tani Tupu, Tongan Thor in the front row as well will be a nice little pickup.
Yeah, he's always good. I don't understand. He never does anything great, but he just always puts points on the board. I'm like, how is this possible?
He just carries. He's able to get so many extra yards and yards after contact as well.
Inertia.
Like from a prop perspective, he's really reaching out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like him. And then we mentioned the Rebels. Let's go to the Rebels. They are definitely always one of my favorite teams to cheer for because they definitely play some quality stuff. They play some very entertaining stuff, but again, they don't always put it together and do what they're supposed to. Tamua running 10 is definitely a great thing for them. Why the hell he didn't start more games at the World Cup, I have no idea. But I wasn't Michael Checker, so
BNC Andrew Kellaway was on fire last season. Well, the first half of the Super Rugby season. Mm-hmm. You could see if he can keep that up because I think he was on 7 tries or so.
Something like that. He had a good rate. I
picked him up on the free agency. I think week 1 or 2, and he's just been points machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had as well. Stupid. Damn COVID. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. They've got Jordan Ulisk is coming back. Sounds like he's healthy and finally not so freaking beat up that he's going to miss every other game. So that's the upside for them. Let's talk about the favorites probably in this competition, the Brumbies. Man, Sans Lealiafano, no problem. They kept on ticking. They beat your guys there, Ben, earlier on this year. So that was
which is disappointing. But again, the Chiefs are like that within New Zealand. The same thing at that, the mercurial. Will they show up? Will they not show up? So that was one of those they didn't.
No, they did not. And obviously, Fainga. Yeah. Monster.
But that Brumbies driving maul is just such a weapon. In fact, it doesn't matter which hooker they got playing. They are going to get those driving maul points.
Yeah. Grab whatever Brumbies hooker might be out there. Yeah. So if you got if you miss Fainga, grab their backup. You never know.
Yeah, because he'll get on the field, and a late try earns you the same amount of points as an early try.
Yeah, exactly.
Facts. Yeah, we'll see if Dan McKellar gets these guys. They'll. I think they'll win this competition. I know they're the favorite, but I don't see how they screw it up that badly. So we'll see how that goes. And then the Waratahs. It's they have Michael Hooper, but do they have anything else?
Yeah,
but they got that young winger whose name.
Oh,
Ben almost became an expert at this. They call him Marky Mark.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't said it in weeks, but now Kanatawas? Something like that.
Something like that. They called him Marky Mark because nobody wants
Marky Mark.
Yeah. So, and that's it. I didn't see a whole lot of good coming from their 10 position. And that was obviously.
The young fly half, Will Harrison, showed some good moments.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to be a sort of a running fly half. So he might be a decent pickup. If you don't pick up a fly half early and you're sort of scraping the barrel a bit, he could be a decent punt.
Yeah, that actually might be a good point. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, because no Curly Beale now.
Nope. No, he's gone. He's gone to France.
Didn't they lose someone else too?
I don't know. Did they?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything. I haven't heard anything much, at least.
Yeah, I'm just with all the glut of just all the glut of Australia players that have kind of left right at this restart. The timing was odd to me. To hear Curly Beale's leaving like 2 weeks before the competition starts. That's kind of a kick in the pants.
Yeah, we clearly know where his brain is at this point. Yeah. It's not on his club rugby. It's not on Australia. It's on Curly Beale.
Yeah, and good for him. He's earned it.
And that's how it goes.
But just how is it going to? Yeah, I just wonder how that's going to affect just for continuity alone the Taz.
Yeah. That 15 jersey might be cursed on that team. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. So I guess Carmichael Hunt's probably going to slip into.
He might. He's not a bad option. I will say that he was always the floor on him was always good. Yeah. I will say that. So there's that option too. So yeah. So Brumbies for the win, Force for the wooden spoon, probably. Yeah. I don't see how it's
like. Well, yeah.
I think it's different.
Taz are they won't finish last. Good for that.
Hooray! Yeah, maybe the Rebels challenge. Who knows? If they pull themselves together. All right, let's get to the actual rugby that happened this past weekend. That was a lot better than the last couple of weeks. Certainly in terms of pens. Yeah,
not many penalties at all compared to how it was the last couple of weeks.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, that Crusaders game the week before last, 27 penalties or something crazy in that.
Yeah, it was a lot of penalties in the Hurricanes Crusaders game. Yeah, so let's go to Blues and Highlanders. I saw somebody say that Barrett's is very pedestrian, and I guess that's kind of a fair assessment, but I'm not sure that's accurate because you don't know what he's doing in that locker room either. So that's definitely something that you need to factor in. And also, you have to worry about Bowden Barrett. That takes so much attention away from other guys like Caleb Clark and Mark Talia. And, you get Ioane, who you always have to pay attention to. But, Aotearoa Black's just been flying under the radar and doing everything right. Mm-hmm. So it's I don't think it's a fair assessment.
No. To me, Barrett's been excellent at getting his guys in the right position and setting them up for good runs. That's why, I think that's why Caleb Clark is on fire right now because he's getting a lot of space afforded to him because Barrett gets that ball and now they have to worry about him attacking and distributing. Mm-hmm. And that's what's opening up the space certainly out wide for Clark.
Yeah, and playing with a heavy heart too this past weekend.
Yeah,
death in the family, which very
what was his grandfather
that morning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how he played. Unreal that he was able to keep himself composed and play as well as he did.
Yeah, he had a belter. He had a real belter. Try assist. Just looked like it.
He was everywhere. He was just a different class. Everything about him, he looks like the real deal. It's amazing seeing these actual young talents in the Blues sort of coming through now. And they are also young as well because you've got Clark's only 21. Talea's like 23.
Mm-hmm.
Rico's only 23.
Yeah.
Hoskins to 21. Like these guys could be dominating for a long time to go.
Yes, yeah, and Satutu had himself another great game. So shocker of the day. Yeah, that was a great little kick. I was like, I thought it was Ioane real quick, and I was like, nope, that is not Ioane.
Satutu again, he just did everything. His defense at the end, because it was such a tight game in the end, but
yes,
some monstrous pressure in the final 10 minutes or so in the Blues 22, and Satutu was putting some enormous hits as a player.
Yeah, I mean, and we can't ignore the other back rower that scored two for these guys. Papali'i, he's like, hey, don't forget about me. I'm here too, guys. Don't forget about this guy that's played for the All Blacks as well.
and I have to give love to Sam Nock, because I've been hard on him for a long time, and boy, has he turned it around.
He's improved. He had improved before the break too.
Yeah,
he had improved before the break, to be fair. So
and it's good to see him, because there's been players who were good before the break that are kind of returning to form. He's not one of them.
Yeah.
That he's and by that I mean, like, they were playing a little bit above they're punching above their weight class, and
they came back down to earth.
Mm-hmm. He's been just continuing to improve, and I made it a point to watch his service, and when he has a flat first receiver, he's hitting them right where they are. When he's got an attacking first receiver, he's leading them into the gap. It's really been, helping that attack flourish.
Yeah. He's been a class above what they had last year, and he was part of the problem last year, along with Michael Ruru. But thankfully, that's no longer an issue. They have Finlay Christie to back him up just in case he starts to flounder. We should not ignore the other 8-man on the other side, because he didn't have a great first half, but he had a great second half. Michaela too. Oh boy, he's they got 8 men coming out of their ears down in New Zealand apparently.
They really do.
Right.
Yeah, this guy's he was a huge part of that first try that they scored. This dude runs just as hard as Tutu does, and he's just as good.
He really does. He carries so well, like generating so many meters, and him and Frizzell in the back row as well. I mean, it's just back row talent.
A lot of good talent in that back row for New Zealand in general, but even Highlanders, which I don't think it's as much notice right now with like Tutu, Artie Savea, and so on. Going on over there, but and there's a couple more guys I wanted to mention on the Highlanders, because it's not like they played like shit. They had this game and they let it go.
Right.
Let's be real about this. Rob Thompson, like how good has he been playing for this team? Very under the radar, but very quality. He's got some good feet on him. He doesn't quite have the ALB feet, but man, he's got some pretty quick feet for a guy that's playing in midfield. And then obviously the guy playing next to him, or a little closer to him, Mitch Hunt, played really well in this game as well, making a lot of people forget about Josh Ioane, which is a hard thing to do.
And on the other side for the Highlanders, though, Scott Gregory, kind of awful that game. To the point where, I mean, and it's one of those, he's got a noticeable hair situation going on.
Does.
So it's one of those, you can't be that bad. You can't play that poorly with that kind of hair without
consequences.
So
absolutely.
I just some 3 notes in a row I have here. In the second half, it was like about 55 minutes in, right after the Frizzell try. I was like, you know what? The Blues haven't put Gregory under pressure at all this half. So you're 15 minutes into the second half in a pretty close match. At this point now you're losing. It's like you got to put some pressure on him. Almost immediately after that, I think Barrett puts a high ball on him. He fucks it up. Gregory knocks it on. And the Blues end up with a penalty and then score. That's when Papali'i scored a second. So and then right after that, Bryn Gatlin comes on to replace Scott Gregory.
Yeah, probably should have done that beforehand, honestly.
Yeah, I'm like, you have a guy who's kind of should have a target on his back. You can't waste 15 minutes not putting any pressure on him. And it was at that point they're like, he's got to get out of here.
Do we have the news on Sam Gilbert and what's going on with that? I mean, look bad.
No.
Really NCI, or for the most part NCI. So I'm guessing unfortunately the worst, which is some sort of cruciate ligament issue.
That's my assumption too.
Yeah.
That when he just came down on it,
awkward.
And and immediately lifted his leg and went to deck and all that. Yeah. It didn't look good.
Yeah, and overall the lineouts were better in this game too, I would say. Both this one and the last one. The Highlanders were putting the Blues under pressure, which was what the Blues have been doing the last couple of weeks, and with Tui Pelotu and the like. That have been so impressive for the Highlanders to challenge them. They had been the lineout kings the last couple of weeks. So props to the Islanders for playing their asses off, and really they should have had this game, but
they should have. They should have just couldn't push it through in those final 20 minutes or so. But
I do appreciate, because I like to talk about it and bitch when they don't, but I want to at least appreciate the fact that the Highlanders went for the corner. They went for the win late rather than just trying to tie it up and play for the draw, or the golden point.
That's what we were looking at.
Kind of would have been cool, but at the same time, I love the guts to go for the try.
Yeah, this is what we were complaining about last week, where there were enough certainly Hurricanes weren't quite going for the jugular against the Crusaders, and they paid for it later on.
Yeah.
So
and more drop goals, both missed.
Yeah.
And left-footed, both of them went for the left foot drop goal.
Yeah, what a waste! What a waste!
Yeah. I remember just drop goals have been a big part of Northern Hemisphere rugby for many, many years. And I remember just during the Rugby World Cup commenting on the Fantasy Rugby Geek Twitter about some glorious drop goals. And all these Kiwis taking the piss at me saying, "You Northerners love your drop goals." No.
And now look at you.
Come around. It's come around.
Yeah, look what you've done. So.
My kids were really confused watching the game as well, because it's obviously on Saturday morning over here about 8 in the morning. So we love watching a bit of Super Rugby in the morning. And they're like, "So who's playing?" I was like, "The Blues versus the Islanders." "All right, so who's in the white?" "The Blues."
Yeah.
"So who's in the Blues?" "The Islanders."
That's not helpful. That doesn't make sense.
I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking the same thing watching that. I'm like, wait, why? There's a blue team, but it's not the Blues. Okay.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, I guess
it took me a moment after the opening kickoff to sort out who was who.
Yeah, I guess it's up to the home team to change kit. So they were left to have to change out of their Blues. But oh well. Looks like they made it all right. So the Blues take down the Highlanders and stay the favorites right now. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Have to say.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Feels like a 2-horse race. That game on the 11th of July is going to be huge.
Yeah, next weekend. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, let's look at the other horse. Crusaders and Chiefs. Yeah, I know this is a bitter one for Ben. Showed some fight in the end. The Chiefs did.
Well, they took out the guy who was fucking up their attack. So
yeah, that helped. Tupaia.
As soon as they took him out, they got 3 points with him in for 60 minutes, and in 10 minutes after that they scored 10 points. And he wasn't like, how many little line breaks did Cruden make, and there was nobody to support him. Like even early he made a quick line break, and Tupaia should have been there on his outside, but he was delayed. He was back looking for a pass rather than an offload, and that's when I can't remember who it was who picked it off for the Crusaders. It must have been Enner, I think. Stepped in and picked it off in his lane. And it's like, if you were where you're supposed to be, Tupaia, that's a try. Like,
oops, frustrating
as fuck there.
Yeah, totally. But again, I will say, despite the really sloppy weather, the lineups were fairly clean here too for the most part.
And still low penalties too, even under that. With that, like a lot fewer of the. It kind of, people fell into their habits late, so there were a little bit more. The discipline at the breakdown penalties, but other than that, it was normal scrum penalty or offside or hands in the ruck, shit like that. So
feels like the ref was being a bit more lenient in this game. I know Gatland was kicking off at full time about Goodhue slowing the ball down for the for the last try, but
he was certainly lenient with the Crusaders.
I had a feeling that was coming. Listen, I'm not completely arguing against it. I was watching Goodhue. I'm like, that's penalty.
There's no way that's not a penalty.
Yeah, I was
absolutely none.
And Weber was freaking out, and I don't blame him at all. Like he's I can't get to the fucking ball. I understand. Yeah. I totally understand, and he had every right to be. And they were pretty hard on that the last 2 weeks too. So
right, and then the ball bounced away. Like it caused all sorts of shit, and it's like it's not just what he did, but what it caused, and then the situation that he caused by doing it illegally absolutely should have been a penalty. No defense for the Chiefs there. That was unbelievably stupid to just go to sleep. And you can't start working it's not going to change his call. You can yell at him. Yeah, sure. But you gotta stay connected enough to watch out for a quick line out. Although it also, I think there was other questions as to whether it touched, because it went right into some like photographers and stuff. So did it touch anybody? The referee seemed to say that it didn't. I don't know that he got a good look. There's a lot around the management of that situation that I didn't like. Yeah. Wow. Not that I don't think it changed the outcome. But it's just one of those like, I don't think he did a good job there. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I will say that, it's pretty noticeable that the Crusaders have gotten a huge boost from Sam Whitelock being in there, especially now that we know Scott Barrett's going to be out for the remainder of this competition. So, that's huge. Not too bad to have him to call upon when you lose when you lose an all black. I lost one all black lock. Oh, I got another one. No big deal.
We'll out a spare all black.
Yeah, exactly. No big deal. No big deal. Although I will say, a guy that doesn't have an all blacks cap right now that might get one in the next year or so is Colin Grace. That guy.
Oh my god.
That guy is not missing.
Monster, 22 tackles.
Yeah, he's not missing much. Yeah, I was like, Colin Grace tackled that guy, and then he tackled that guy. He just got up and kept going. I was like, this dude is a freaking Energizer Bunny. Good Lord. Yeah,
he had similar stats last week as well. I think he was about 20 odd tackles last week as well. He's an absolute machine.
Yeah, he's trying out 20 tackle games like it's his job. Very, very, very simple things for him. Just tackle and don't stop. So he's pretty good. And I'll ask this to the Chiefs fan. Do you think Tankayaho stays on the bench after this last one here? Had a couple of bad lineouts, and then he fumbled that last goal line opportunity there. And that's the one thing that he's good at, in my opinion. His lineouts are but his carrying is amazing. So the thing that he's supposed to be good at cost him. So it's like,
but that'll happen. You're not, just because you're good at something doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. So as long as you do the things you do well, the team can work around it. But I agree though, the lineouts were better. He didn't do so hot when he came in, but
he was definitely the downside on that one.
Again, that's not my main concern. My main concern for the Chiefs is at 13. Everything else they've been workable, but even Anton Leonard-Brown's not getting loose at 12. And I think it's because he just doesn't have the space to operate, because I think teams, especially this past week, I think the Crusaders just ignored Tupaia because they're like, you're not going to do anything, so let's just shut down ALB and we'll go from there. Yeah. So to me, the big key for the Chiefs, if they want to have success the rest of the way out, is finding a 13 that doesn't have his head up his ass.
Yeah. Do you want to bring Timo Manu into 13 next week, possibly?
I would like that very much.
Yeah. Yeah. He's on his way out too.
Yeah. But you still have Alamalo, who's not, hasn't played yet. So you could always, at that point, bump a wing into 13, do something there.
Is Alamalo fit? Is he not injured?
I don't know. We don't get the news about the players easily over here. So I can't say for sure.
Yeah.
But he did play. I would have thought he would be starting if he was fit.
I assume he would be at least in the 23 if he was healthy. Yeah. So I'm going to assume that he's knocked up somehow.
Right. Because he was in the 23 last week.
Yeah. So maybe he got banged up.
Maybe they were trying him out. And he's just not ready yet.
Yeah, possibly, or he picked up something in the last week plus. Somebody else we missed in the player movement. Tyrell Ardron leaving Hamilton, going to France.
Interesting.
Another fellow North American on his way to Europe. He'll be remembered there for a while. He's been there for a while. He's played very well for that team. They'd call him a funny talker if it was. So yeah, one of the funny talkers down there on his way over to France, which I mean, I don't think he's from Quebec, so it's not going to help him, but
Yeah.
you know, he'll be all right just the same. No, he's been a good servant to the Chiefs, I will say that. So Godspeed over in France, though, man. That's competitive, and it's the Wild West. I swear to God.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it kind of is. So yeah, man. What else are we gonna do? Oh my God. We'll see. But yeah, so the Crusaders take down the Chiefs and keep themselves at the front.
They just look like they haven't been away. Like that back line is unbelievable considering the conditions.
Yeah. We have to remember this is their winter, and it's not the traditional winter of snow. It's rain. Yeah. It's a shit ton of rain, and it's not fun to play in. I would rather play in snow. That's me personally, but that's just you grow up knowing.
It's awful. I mean, I'm a back myself. I'm sorry to say, and just when you have conditions like that, this is not going to be a day for us.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, all of them, Moanga, Goodhue, Sever Reese, like literally every time he gets the ball, you're just like, oh my God, what's the ball?
There he goes.
Yeah.
And he didn't get any tries, but I think he set up 2 for Will Jordan.
He set up at least the one with Will Jordan.
Yeah.
No, both of them. He
both?
caught the high ball he caught,
and
then was
yes.
gone.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was. I didn't think anybody was going to catch him there.
No.
Brad Weber showed his speed on that one for sure.
He did.
Yeah.
Big time. I mean, if there's a faster, I want to see Brad Weber and Kobus Reinach go at it and see what happens.
Yeah.
40-meter run, off you go.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun one to watch. So yeah, here we go. Geez, we're getting right into it. Now we got 4 games to pick, then.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Hey, we're perfect so far. Well, no, we're not.
Hey, we got
each week. Yeah.
We got off the schneid. We both got a win here. We got 2 wins this past week. Thank God. Finally, no more losses. So yeah, but neither you or I has provided separation from each other.
No,
yet.
We will this week.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, 159 and 76, both of us.
Yeah.
Good God. All right, we'll see. Well, this week we are going to definitely get some separation.
Yep.
Because I assume that neither one of us is going to pick the opposites team coming up here.
Likely.
But let's look at the first game. Highlanders Crusaders. Thoughts?
The Highlanders are clearly they're not the perfect team. It's hard to say that the Crusaders aren't the perfect team. So I think it's going to be, and we still have the home teams are clearly benefiting from that. So
there's actually crowds, which is nice.
Yeah,
it is nice. So that's something to factor in. But I can't pick again. I don't think I can pick against the Crusaders in this match. There's, especially against the 2 teams at the bottom of the table are at the bottom of the table for. Oh no, I guess Highlanders are in the middle. Sorry, got them backwards.
They're ones, but yeah.
Yeah, they're imperfect as far as 1-1, but I don't see them winning this. So I'm going to go with the Crusaders. I as George said, that back line is it doesn't have any flaws in it right now, and that alone is going to carry them, I think, in this match.
It's hard to find a weakness in many places in that team, and I think under the roof as well, we're going to see some pretty tasty rugby from them. So I agree with you, Ben. I would go for the Crusaders as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have a hard time to think otherwise. Crusaders here. I mean, David Havili's coming off the bench. Like, geez, what does that say about how good the rest of them are? Like David Havili, who was a machine before the break here, still a machine, just coming off the bench now. Like, damn, hard to say otherwise.
Yeah,
all right.
I was not happy when he came on either. I was like, oh, okay, well.
This is going to be a problem.
Okay. Well, there he comes.
Oh, shit. All right. To Hamilton, Chiefs and Hurricanes. Well, it ain't going to take a whole lot of rocket science to figure out who the hell Ben and I are picking in this, especially since neither one of us has won a damn game. So I'm going to back my guys, obviously, although I think if I was picking with my brain, I would actually probably pick the Chiefs because they looked a little bit better this past weekend. Yeah,
this is one where my head and my heart are kind of aligned. But it really depends to me. It depends on who's wearing that 13. If it's Tupaya, then I think that opens the door for the Hurricanes. Just because I think it'll limit what the Chiefs can do. I think Gatlin's smarter than that at this point. He should have seen enough now that, if it's one match here, one match there, but now it's 3 straight matches that Tupaya has been an issue, to say the least. I think they'll put someone else in that jersey, and I think that might help open up the attack. Along with the better discipline that they've shown as far as the penalties. Mm-hmm. I think that alone should carry them this match.
I'm veering towards the Chiefs as well. Like I feel like the Canes are just looking a bit lost at the moment. I think they're missing Geordie Barrett.
Should be back this week.
Should be back this week.
Should be back this week.
Okay.
They rested him the last match in anticipation of the bye. So the thinking is maybe he won't start, but he will be in the 23.
Yeah. I don't think they're utilising their best weapons particularly well either. Nagani Lamapi just he wasn't playing his natural game last time round.
No. Although he made somebody look silly for the Amua tribe, but
yeah,
it's hard to tackle Lamape when he doesn't want to be tackled. It really is.
And that's what he's best at, and that's what he needs to focus on.
Agreed.
But yeah, I feel like the Chiefs probably have got a bit too much about them. I reckon it'll be close, but I could see the Chiefs taking it.
Yep. No, I don't disagree. All right, and then over to Oz for the first Super Rugby AU game. Reds Waratahs. These are two teams that you definitely don't know what you're getting.
Right. Who's going to turn up?
Yeah, I think with the Reds being the home team, and I don't think that they've lost nearly as much in this break as the Waratahs have. Again, the Curly Beale loss is, I think that's more locker room and team cohesion than anything else. Mm-hmm. But that's still a huge loss, in the intangibles. Mm-hmm. Again, we need to know which Reds team's going to show up, but I would still go with the home team at this point.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
attacking talent.
Mm-hmm.
They were putting together the odd good performance before the lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a tiny bit more consistent than the Tars, although consistency isn't their strong point.
Right.
No. I think home advantage will probably take them over.
Yeah, I'll bet. It's hard to pick against Michael Hooper, but I'm going to pick with James O'Connor. Maybe I'll frame it that way, along with the likelihood of Danganu possibly being back in Haggerty. Liam Wright's still on the squad, even though they lost Isaac Rada. Yeah, I'll go with the Reds for sure. Reds. All right, and then another one. This will be fairly interesting. Again, Brumbies are definitely the most consistent team here, probably the favorite. What Rebels team shows up? Which one? Because if it's the really high-powered offensive machine they know they can be, it's going to be a tri-fest and it's anybody's game.
Mm-hmm.
But if they fall apart, meh.
And I think that in this one, maybe more so than the Reds Waratahs, I think the new laws around the 50-22, 22-50 are going to come into play here. If the Rebels can use that to their advantage and open up space with those kicks, this could become a more like a track meet, kind of both ways. Just could be a wide open game. In that case, I'd go with the Rebels. So I'm going to go with the Rebels.
How about that? All right, we might have some separation here. All right, I am going to go with the Brumbies. I have a hard time picking against them right now. Again, consistency. I love the Rebels and what they do. Like, if I had to pick an Australian team, it would definitely be the Rebels. Mm-hmm. But I just know the issues with their game and mostly just having them turn up. But, I mean, on their day, yeah, they're going to be a fucking tough out. But I don't know. If this is the day that they get it done, especially where they're with the uncertainty of how Melbourne's turning out right now with an outbreak going on, and they can't play at home, they can't stay at home, so they're going to be sleeping in Sydney for a while here, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jared. That Brumbies pack as well. Just
George, we had a thing.
Sorry, man.
Not anymore.
Gotta say, like Brumbies, I'm backing them to take the whole tournament, and I think they're going to start off strong against the Rebels. They left when they were hot before the lockdown, and I can just see them picking straight back up where they left off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping for. So this is, to me, much more so than Aotearoa. I'll get that right one time. To me, this is much more of an exhibition style season with the law changes and you know, the Aotearoa is a lot more of a they're playing rugby. They're playing however many matches and it's the same stuff as we were seeing before. This is going to be different. It'll be interesting to see how the teams react. And to me, I'm hoping, and I was hoping for more of it from Aotearoa, just a lot more of open attacking rugby, like kind of leaving it all out there, trying to score points rather than playing it safer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to see a little bit of that from Australia, just saying, you know what, let's see some, 40 to 35 scores. Let's see, let's get some go for some tries rather than the penalty kick fest that we had last week in New Zealand.
Yeah, we'll see. I will say good news for you and I, been on the side. I spoke with them. ESPN is going to carry it.
Nice.
So I screenshotted that conversation. So when they come back and say, "Oh, we're not carrying," be like, "Oh, really? You had this guy tell me otherwise." So you better. Well, I am not ESPN's favorite person right now. I will say that right now. I am not their favorite person.
But they didn't really. Technically, they didn't officially announce it till the Friday before the first, hours before the first match. Right? For New Zealand. So I'm guessing we'll have the same again this week.
Yeah, we won't find out until Wednesday, Thursday that they're carrying it technically, but they've been told that they're just trying to get it on the schedule. I was like, yay, thank you. Although I had to ask the question 10 times because they definitely tried to dance around it. And then finally they're like, crap, I actually have to go find this answer.
and one last bit from me on the Super Rugby Australia, and especially with the 50-22, 22-50 rules. Mm-hmm. I had a thought because I was watching this past weekend, watching the New Zealand play, and thinking about those kind of kicks and when you'd see them and how much space there is. And yet I think especially in the Chiefs match, there were significant opportunities for it, more so in other matches. But what I also realized is that it's going to be something interesting to see on free kicks. Yeah, we see a lot of scrum resets. Free kicks awarded at 10-meter line. All right, we'll reset for a scrum because what else are you going to do? In this case, if you take a quick tap, pass it out, one or two, and then chip for inside the 22. Mm-hmm. Now you've gone from instead of reset the scrum.
Yeah, I'd be okay with
business.
that.
It's okay. Now you get it out and you kick, and maybe you have a line. Off the free kick, you have a line out inside the other team's 22. That's something I actually am excited to see if that happens. Fewer scrums, fewer scrum resets. Let's play rugby.
Yeah, that could play into the Rebels' hands as well, actually, because Matt Tamua, has a decent kicking game.
Yes, he does.
So that could definitely play to their advantage. It's going to be fascinating.
Because I don't know how many coaches have coached this, let alone the players playing it, because it has to come from the coaches how they're going to use it. And in what situations. So I'm really interested to see how the coaching staffs have trained their players to use it. Mm-hmm. And if it's going to take a couple of weeks for everything to settle in.
Yeah, we shall see. It'll be interesting. If they use that law for those types of reasons, I will be okay with it. Mm-hmm. I have more of an issue with the 50-22 than I do the 22-50. Just because I don't want it to just turn into kicks back and forth because listening to my kids that I coach, they're like, this is the most boring part of the game, like the kicks back and forth. I'm like, I know, guys, but and some of them are super rugby nerds and they appreciate what's going on there, but not all of them are. So, trying to keep the kids involved and trying to keep that theme going. Let's hope that it works out the way Ben just described, as opposed to just people trying to kick way too freaking much. Yeah. I'm not into that. I'll pass.
especially if it's a free entry into the 22 that's a lot for me to stomach at the moment. And I guess the other question is there a carry back rule, like similar to how it is inside the 20, inside the 22 versus carried back, brought back. So if you have a scrum just outside the 22, could that be used for a 2250 rule, or does it have to be, I just don't understand
I don't know.
Full details of the law.
That's an interesting question. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
There's a lot that we're going to find out this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that there is. Okay, this was a shitload of fun. As always, thank you guys for listening. George, you're the man.
Thank you so much, George.
Thanks for joining us, man. It's a lot of fun.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, hopefully when COVID is no longer a thing, we can get some sort of transatlantic, visitation going on here, and and
there's definitely a celebratory trip to England in order for Jared and myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Surely a game and seveul beers, I think.
Several games and and several beers. Yes.
No wives.
But so just the same. Thank you, George. Thank you guys for coming along as always. We really appreciate you. We'll be back next week to digest all the BS that goes on in Super Rugby Australia, along with the next round of Super Rugby Aotearoa. Until then, we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks very much for coming along. Have a good one.
Later.
Cheers.
Cheers.